Hi guys, Jared here with Day Traders FX. It's been a great week so far. Lots of good movements, lots of good pips, lots of good stuff. So no complaints this week. We've still got some pretty interesting, pretty good setups. Let's talk about those. Quickly, you can see that we're definitely seeing some down days in the markets. Oil's back down. We've seen oil sitting at $96, $97, $98 even. Here it is down at 93. Gold has obviously plummeted to some pretty intense supports, and I think it may continue in that direction. Dow, another down day for the Dow, 47 points. S&P, pretty down days. So overall, like I said, we're seeing some down movements. We had some mixed bags on reports today. So as far as all that goes, you know, the core CPI is a little bit better, unemployment a little bit worse, existing home sales a little bit better, Philly Fed a little bit worse. So it's just kind of, you know, one of those days. Coming into tomorrow, as far as news goes, we don't have anything left for the U.S. that's of major importance. We have the German IFO happening tomorrow, and that can be a bit of a mover, so keep an eye on Euro pairs. And then we have core CPI and retail sales for Canada, so just keep an eye on those, especially if you're trading into Canadian pairs. Okay, so my focus really today is mostly on a Euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar. There's not really any other setups I'm going to look at today because I don't think anything really falls into our criteria. Euro dollar has dropped nicely, and it keeps testing this level. This is weekly and daily support too, which is at about 131.60, and it keeps testing this level. The question is it going to hold or is it going to break? Personally, it's a tough one. Personally, I think that we might get a little push lower because we have we have that big support down here, and maybe that was enough, you know, to turn the market. That might be. I think we might get a little run, you know, back into just the sub 131.50 area. So we could get a dip down of another 40 or 50 pips before turning. If it breaks 131.50, we're basically headed for 130.50 and 130 even. So we're going 100 pips at least if we break this 131.50 and potentially further. Here's the setup though. The euro dollar has been bumping along this channel right here on our daily chart here, and you can see that it's been, you know, really respecting that channel. And now that we're down here in the bottom of this channel, we're going to see how the new daily candle looks and how it ends up coming out and turning out and so on. So far, it's not going to be anything too different or too, you know, reversal-y looking. We're just going to get a close, and we'll see how this thing goes. But we are in significant support. We are at the bottom of the channel, and we do have good reason to believe that this euro could turn and start to push higher. So that's one thing to remember. This level right here, this 131.50 is a tough level, and it's been hit so many times, and it's such a strong one that I think we could very easily see this thing hold and turn here. So one option is looking for a run into 131, you know, 50, 60, and buying down there with stops, you know, with tight-ish stops. You might need to still go 40 or 50 pips on that, but just to make sure to give yourself plenty of room. But if this 131.50 holds, it's going to hold, and we're never going to see that level again for, you know, for months potentially. So it's going to be something to definitely keep an eye on. We've seen a huge correction, and I think we need to see this thing dip down one more time and look for that entry kind of at that 131.50, 60 to buy. And, you know, and you can keep even tighter stops. You could go with like 131.25. If it really breaks 50, it could really, you know, be on the big move down anyways. But that's kind of what I'm looking for. And again, if it does break, you know, like I said, I think we're headed into 130.50 most likely, which is going to put us right in contact with the 200-day moving average. So that's kind of what I think could potentially be in the works. Keep in mind, you can see 131.50 right here was a level heavily tested last year, and it just seems to be holding very nicely. So I think we can bounce, but I'm not 100% sure yet. And if we don't, we're headed to 130.50. Pound dollar, I think the pound dollar has a fun little short-term, that's right, I said fun, little short-term opportunity to trade the break up into this daily pivot. There's 25 or 30 pips you can make trading the break of these highs right here into that daily pivot, which is a missed one. And then I think we're in, I think that's, you know, we may continue higher, but I'm honestly not counting on it. What I'm looking at is the fact that we have this little trend line that's been tested. We're staying below resistance. We've broken sideways out of the trend line. This is a good area area for this thing to start heading south. We're holding below the daily pivot, below the 200 moving average. Good time for this thing to start heading back south. So I am still very bearish on the pound dollar. You can see that we are currently 130 pips off the low. So if we just trade into a double bottom there, great pips to be had on that. We do have a nice daily pin bar, and it's going to close a daily pin bar. So if that does turn out to be the case, then watch for that big daily pin bar could start to turn things just a little bit higher. Remember, we do have a missed pivot up here at 155.80, and we have a 200-day moving average up here, 154.50. So there's some upside targets. If we get above this daily pivot area, which is around 152.90, 153.00, I think we could be in for a 1 to 200 pip run higher on the pound dollar. But still, it seems like the overall sentiment is still short on this pair, so I think we're probably going to see some further runs down. And then last but not least, the Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar has been kind of bumping around. It's at the bottom of this range, like it just has been doing like crazy. Hits the bottom, runs up to the 200-day moving average, runs back down, up 200-day moving average. I don't know if I think it's going to run all the way up to the 200-day moving average this time, but it definitely could, so we have to keep an eye on that. But it's just, remember, we had a missed daily pivot right here. It's finally taken that out. We had a missed weekly pivot, in this little area, so that needed to get hit. 200 moving average needed to get hit. A lot of things needed to happen. It's reached all these areas, and so now it should be ripe for some downward movement. But if you are shorting this, you need to have some decent stops, at least above these highs right here. I'm not ready to short this pair just yet, but I think we might have some good opportunities as we approach that 103.60-70 level again. And there is a decent chance it could stay at this area and start heading back down. But a breakout like that usually has a little bit of extra momentum behind it. So I won't be surprised if this continues just a little bit higher. But ultimately looking for opportunities to short up against this 103.75-85 area on the Aussie dollar. So that's all I'm looking for. Again, a breakout, a test of the daily pivot, and then potentially all the way up into the 200 moving average and the missed pivot here. Otherwise, we're going to be trading the break and continuing short in this pair. And then euro dollar. Just double checking. We're going to watch closely on this 131.50. If it can hold 131.50, we're buying against it with 50-ish pip stops and a target of around 133.50 and potentially beyond. We have a missed daily pivot back there about 134.75, so we have some good upper targets there. So that's what I'm looking at. I will see you guys in the chat. Remember, you can get more details at daytradersfx.com. You can get free trials. You can get all kinds of stuff there. So there's lots of good information, and I'm currently working on an educational library. I've just uploaded 7 or 8 videos today that talk about a lot of concepts that we do. They're in the paid members area. You can get a 5-day trial at the website and go in and view some of those videos and some of that information. Best of luck, everyone, and I will see you in the chat and on Twitter. Thanks, guys.